We are in the final stages of pre-production. A time of constant confrontation with reality. As you turn all your creative intentions and aspirations into logistical, budget-friendly plans. Coordinating schedules, renting equipment, hiring last-minute crew members, ordering craft services, and, in the era of COVID, making sure everything is clean and everyone is safe. It can feel overwhelming, especially if you're making a low-budget independent film like we are. We're shooting in the middle of this pandemic with no vaccine, trying to film a one-day proof of concept so that down the road, we can finish making the film. I'm paying for this all out of pocket, so every cost matters. The cast and crew are either working for free or very cheap because we all believe in making this film happen. But preparation, even for a one-day shoot, is still a roller coaster. There was an insurance issue. The COVID rates are spiking again. This is that second wave we've been warned about. All of this work for such a small little scene. Hello. I'm Alden. I'm a filmmaker giving you a behind-the-scenes look at making an independent sci-fi film so you can learn from all our successes and failures along the way, showing you how it's done, not telling you. This production diary is about all things pre-production. Just over a week to go. Today I went to the TDF costume collection at Kaufman Astoria Studios. This costume space is down in the basement there. So they have this massive, massive room of a ton of different costumes. And because of COVID, they didn't really have anybody to help you out, and I was just free to roam around. And there were so many different pieces there. Literally anything you can imagine, from Renaissance to drag to military to police to Renaissance, and then boxes and boxes of accessories. So I looked around. I was looking through like military stuff, coveralls or like jumpsuits, and I just wasn't really finding anything. It was a little terrifying to climb up on these ladders and look through stuff, and the jumpsuits were up on like the third level, so they had to bring out the big ladder. It was terrifying, but eventually, after being up there for so long, I had stopped being scary. I took photos and I sent them to Cheyenne, the production designer, just to kind of sync up with the look of the company, because this is primarily for the Jane character, and she's a company employee, so what does that garment look like? I'm not really sure if we're gonna have found it there, but I'm really glad that I went. It's so cool that that's there, and similar to the LED wall at Gum Studios that I toured a while ago, just reaching out and asking to see it got me in the door. I wouldn't never have thought while making this film, oh, I'm gonna go to one of the actual legit studios in New York City and go look at their costume warehouse and actually rent from there, but I did. Even though maybe I didn't find a costume, still pretty cool experience. 6 days until our shoot. We had our first production meeting with department heads, and we all kind of synced up. And so the goal of that meeting was for people to sort of give their creative briefs, just to get everybody on the same page. What is production design doing? What is the camera team doing?
Empty spaces, a lot of negative space, and then also very intimate close-ups on people.
A super fun idea that I would love to find a way to pull off is also having these small TV screens kind of staggered around. I think it would be really nice to have a disco ball.
We did a final tech scout of our location, a bar called Bossa Nova in Bushwick.
I liked that Bossa Nova was dark and kind of gritty. And then I really liked the shelves behind the bar because I really wanted to be able to incorporate screens and that idea that, with all of the liquor bottles being the same, just those little details help build the world. And so having those shelves behind the bar just gave a great space to have those details in a natural way.
one whole wall was a mirror. So the big challenge is, are we going to see the lights? Most likely. How do we hide them? Can we compromise or like negotiate where the camera is going to be? You don't want to sacrifice the camera shots, but you also want to be realistic in what you can get away with too. So where are we going to put gear? How are we going to cover the windows? And in this situation, we're kind of doing like a skeleton crew situation. So time becomes, the most demanding thing above all else.
4 days to go. Boxes are stacking up like crazy. I have been getting so many shipments. All the production design stuff is being shipped to my place. Oh, it's part of the disco ball, so that's probably a disco ball. No, it is more of these. Using like olive oil bottles for the liquor bottles. 3 days until production. The COVID rates are spiking again. This is that second wave we've been warned about. Andrew Cuomo just announced stricter lockdown restrictions because of COVID. Bars and restaurants have to close by 10 p.m. Private parties are now limited to 10 people. So I'm hoping we can at least squeak by with this shoot. Please, please, please let me just get by with this one little shoot. Could you imagine? I don't even want to put that out there into the universe, but could you? 2 days until production. My room is a total mess with like props and costume stuff everywhere. I've been working on the schedule, just trying to figure out how the day is going to go, how long the setups are going to take, and where the time crunches are going to be throughout the day. I'm trying to do that as quickly as possible because everybody else needs this schedule. And I've been procrastinating putting that schedule together. I also need to get the schedule of the schedule. Put a schedule together, get all the schedule stuff out. Schedule. I'm doing all the scheduling because I didn't hire a first assistant director for this shoot, which I do not recommend you go without. But because it was just a 1-day shoot, I knew that personally I could handle doing both jobs. But in order to put that schedule together, I first had to talk to our DP about the storyboard.
Okay, so where do you want to start with the storyboarding?
Maybe if you want to pull up my little sketches that I drew, I'll pull them up too. They're kind of in order, kind of not. But this is just kind of like a general idea of like what I have for how this thing could look. And in this storyboard, I'd say, yeah, it's a little bit over like 20 kind of like different shots. But I'd say we can aim for around like 20.
Starting with Shirley's shot list and sketches, we went back and forth until we had a final storyboard. I put each shot into a spreadsheet and then organized our day, factoring in things like lighting setups and how long the android makeup takes to apply. Then finally, I had a plan for our shoot. It is the day before production. I picked up a U-Haul van so we could transport all of our film equipment. I think I'm in a parking spot. I am pretty sure. Not pretty close. On the way to get this van though, Shirley called and said that there was an insurance issue with Autorama because she made the account in her name, but our insurance was through our LLC. They said the only options were to either make a new account and make a new order with the LLC's name and use the certificate of insurance, except they don't do same-day orders, so that wasn't going to be an option. The other one was to put a total replacement cost hold on a credit card, which was $14,000, which absolutely not, because if something happened, I would not be able to come up with that much money. And the other option was to get their own insurance policy, which was just over $100. So we did that, of course. I'm not super thrilled with the extra money because now it's to the point now where it's like every nickel and dime I'm feeling it because the big swings have already been made. So we're gonna do that, but it's through the same insurance company. So they said we might be able to call later and get a reimbursement because we had insurance and we didn't need it, and it was an Adorama policy thing. So we're gonna get all that information, and that's gonna be up to Benno, our wonderful producer, to take care of. The night before the shoot, call time's at 3 a.m. Everything is ready to go. Now it's just a matter of doing it. So what I'm doing to prep is going through the script and trying to, write my notes for sort of what my, as the writer, intentions were for each of the lines, and then some ideas of how to get an actor there if need be. So I'll jot down some specific ideas if I have specific thoughts on a certain line. Also, we'll see what the actors bring and what that performance is gonna look like. So I'm doing that. I don't really know how most directors prepare. That's something that I haven't really heard discussed a whole lot, I guess. I know what shots I want. I know what I'm going for. I guess that's it, is just knowing what I want and having an idea of how to get there. Everybody has brought so much to it, and it's wild to think that just this idea in my mind is now 15 people working toward this one shoot and one goal. I think the craziest part of this so far, a few months ago, I remember, saying out loud, I want to make a sci-fi film, felt so ambitious and aspirational, and now it's a reality. All of the little steps that I've taken along the way, it's produced this look and this aesthetic that I was really going for, and I'm so happy. This, I think, is the first time in a long time that I will be on set and just be having fun. Legitimately having fun with how everything looks and stuff. I'm making a sci-fi movie, a queer sci-fi movie. It's insane. So now it's time to rest and just wait until it's time.
We did have one issue right off the bat was the strip lights, the LED light broke or was just non-functional. Even though it had been tested, but something happened. That was probably the most stressful part of the day, was just making sure the day was gonna start.